All right, so in case it's not obvious, we're doing a Meshuggah themed video today. We have Mr. Thordendal's guitar, Mr. Hagstrom's guitars. In other words, what we have here is the complete lineup of Ibanez Meshuggah guitars that are accessible to the public: the FTM33, the M80M, and the M8M. But the main thing of today's video is the newly released Fortin Meshuggah pedal, which was released about 4 weeks ago,
Right.
and is already sold out as of today's recording. So what can we say? I mean, the first question probably that burns everybody's mind is, does it do the Meshuggah thing?
I'll answer it with a face.
That's the face we had as soon as we plugged the thing.
100%. It's not a cheap pedal. It's a little more pricey when it comes to distortion pedals. Is it worth it? Absolutely, it is. Felt like a little sensitive on the knobs, wouldn't you agree? So you got to be careful when you're dialing it
Which
in.
is not a bad thing because, it kind of gives you a wide range of possibilities.
Right. And also not a cookie cutter pedal, right? The bass, mid, and treble, when you're dialing that in, it will change the compression. It will change the character of the distortion a little bit. And Fortin describes this on the instruction manual.
Which I strongly recommend people read it because I know a lot of people had bad results when they tried the pedal at first. And I know there's also a big argument on the internet whether you should plug it in the effects loop or in front of the amp. You can do it both ways. The manual says it. And as you said, it's very hard to set up because it's very sensitive. The knobs are very sensitive. So what I recommend is go with the manual's examples. There's a Frederick Thordendal example, actually 2 of them, and a Fortin example, and I think also 2 of them. So dial those first and then start playing from there.
And since you mentioned, we prefer to use it in front of the amp.
Absolutely.
We got better results like that. But it's a really cool pedal. It comes built in with the Zool noise gate. So it's cool to see Fortin lending all of their knowledge to Meshuggah to make this really cool pedal. It sounds beast. It's definitely the Meshuggah tone that they get from the Fortin heads, like the full on like vacuum tube heads.
Blackout.
Yes. So I guess you can go back all the way to maybe Colossus.
I think right after that, Violent Slip of Reason, probably.
All those tones are so easily achievable with this pedal. It wouldn't even take that long to dial. But I'm pretty sure if you play with it enough, you can probably get even the obs in and the further stuff.
Absolutely.
But it sounds absolutely crushed. We had a very simple setting for it. We had basically the pedal, and then we had the Seymour Duncan, and we had this cab right here, which is a 1x12.
1x12 Celestion V30 Rundle.
Yeah, we mic'd it up, and even before micing it, just by when we played it, we were like, "Damn, it sounds sounds so crushed," and does not feel like a knockoff or like a compromise or like a cheap version of an amp, right? It actually feels like a full-on amp, right?
I believe actually I saw on Instagram. I believe it was Thordendal's account that they actually used this live. I could be wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. And the mids really impress me. Like many guitar pedals and this kind of stuff, the mids are underwhelming. The mids are always the most challenging part. And this, it actually sounds really cool. It sounds badass.
So for the full mix that you heard, what we used was we pretty much quad tracked the rhythm guitars.
Right.
So for 2 of the 4 tracks, we tried to emulate, let's say, the Frederick Thordendal signal chain. So we used the FTM33. We even went as far as using the signature guitar pick that he has. And then we used the Meshuggah, the Fortin Meshuggah, and the Fortin 33 together. And the Fortin Meshuggah was on the green channel, so slightly toned down, the distortion a little bit more tamed because we had the 33 in front kind of driving it. And we use that again in front of the amp, in front of an Angle special edition, Founders Edition head, which was mic'd, connected to a 4x12 Mesa Boogie rectifier cab with Celestion V30s. Mic'd with our favorite combination of a Sennheiser E906 and MD41, as well as our new favorite,
the Lewitz
640 DP. And that pretty much was the Martin, let's say, sorry, the Thordendal side of the signal chain.
Yeah.
And then for the other two tracks, what we did is
Just
only
the Meshuggah pedal.
just the Meshuggah pedal,
Red channel.
the Ibanez M8M. Although I can tell you, I can guarantee you that if we had used the M80M, it would be the exact same result.
100%.
And we even used his signature pick, which is, I believe, an Ibanez. Very different picks. One is very thick, and the Thordendal pick is very thin. And of course, different guitars, because one only has a bridge pickup, the other one has both a bridge and a neck. They're both Lundgrens. And that's pretty much the signal chain we had for the full mix. And of course, the lids had a little bit of a delay here and there, but that's about it. Now, with that said, someone could argue that, hold on, the angle head that you just mentioned is an expensive, high-quality amp, which is true. The guitars you guys are using are pretty much the guitars Meshuggah are using, the same pickups, the same guitar picks. The 4x12 cabinet is high quality,
right,
professional grade cabinet.
But one should not be fooled.
The irony is that you can get very close to that, kind of tone with the simplest of setups, like the one we have here,
And which we'll actually have a demo for. We're going to be playing some Meshuggah songs, not entirely. We're just going to be doing some riffs, so people can get a feel for it in the simplest setup. And one of the signal chains, we used the Meshuggah pedal with the Seymour Duncan and this Randall right here.
Yeah.
And the other one, we used the... Can I mention it?
Not yet, because we're busy with that for the next video. But
we used the pedal that we are not going to mention it yet.
The nameless pedal.
With
I will start all the conspiracies in the comment. Wait a second, you mentioned nameless.
Well, undisclosed pedal with another Seymour Duncan. Same stuff, just lower wattage on the Mesa Boogie cabinet. And that was the Hagstrom guitar.
Yes.
And this was the Thordendal guitar. Yeah. Oh, you also used the 33, right? For the demo.
We might have.
I think you did use the 33 on the green. And a very simple setup, not expensive at all. You can get like a Randall for a few $100s, and this is like a very cheap solid state amp that doesn't really color the tone very much. And then you just put this in front, and it screams. It becomes a Meshuggah machine.
Absolutely. And I think, even because we do mention Celestion V30s a lot, I believe that, of course, I think those are the best results you can get with this pedal, but honestly, I think any other speaker will do it too.
Yeah, it's just our preference at the end of the day. And we also tested it with the Ormsby. We tested it with the Strandberg guitar. And
correct, with different pickups, not even Lundgrens anymore. Ormsby pickups, Fishman pickups. Yeah.
And this just works so well with it. So don't be afraid of experimenting and trying with whatever you have. It will sound great. It's an amazing pedal. I'm really impressed with it. I'm really impressed with Fortin overall, especially
absolutely
pedals.
Same here.
And
we'll definitely revisit this for more styles, because there is plenty of good demos out there with 6 strings, 7 strings, thrash metal, death metal.
Right.
We'll definitely revisit and perhaps even have a shootout with other cool pedals that we have in store. But one last thing before we move on to the demos. One way I recommend people test, whatever setup and whatever tone they get out of the Fortin Meshuggah pedal, or generally from their setup, when trying to emulate the Meshuggah tone. I think the best way to compare that, to compare your results with Meshuggah's, is to go to their last album, Immutable, and refer to the Black Cathedral track.
Right.
Because this track is, just
isolated,
the guitars. There's no
isolated.
drums, no vocals, no bass, just double-tracked guitars. Yeah, that's it. So it's a very good way, in my experience and opinion, to test whatever tone you have.
Since you mentioned, because this is designed after the Fortin Blackout Meshuggah amp, definitely immutable all the way back to Violent Sleep or Reason.
Even further back, I think. Coloss probably.
It'd be very easy to dial those tones in.
Play Bleed from Obzen.
Yeah, if you dial enough, you can definitely get the bleed tone out of it. And
I agree with you. Like I feel like my personal preference and opinion, I feel like from Violent Sleep of Reason and on, Meshuggah have perfected the tone.
I think
there is a very specific signature sound to them. And I feel like that pedal gives you exactly that.
You can dial any Meshuggah tone with this, but it'll be a lot easier for the latest stuff, the premium Meshuggah tone. It's so cool. So yeah, since you mentioned bleed, maybe in the future we'll do that.
We'll bleed the future.
So I guess we can go on with the demos.
Absolutely.